this way, Grandma. Your hands are so stiff. Relax.
You see? The young. They think you're crazy. Meantime, they're so cool and strong. Their hands are so stiff. Relax. Of course these hands are stiff. I sacrificed everything for my family with these hands. From the very beginning, I did everything for them and nothing for myself. And now she is telling me to relax.
There you go. So now let's say you want to make a phone call. Take your finger.
Wait. Stop. This is a phone? How can this be a phone? This is not a phone. You said you're going to get me a phone. This does not look like my old phone. Hold on. This is a computer. Okay? I told you I needed a new phone. You said you were going to get a new phone to replace my old phone. This is not. Grandma, listen. How much did this cost you? Okay? Too much, I bet. You know what? I don't want you spending this kind of money on me. Okay? Take it back. Close it up. You're laughing at me?
No, I just can't.
No, you are laughing at me.
Oh, please, Grandma, just listen. Stop. Just stop.
What?
Stop.
You see? Always bossing me around. Stop. Go. Listen. Do this. Do that. As you get old, they think that you're stupid and less capable. But I don't like them about bossing me around, right? I did not like it when I was 5. I didn't like it when I was 15. Did not like it when I was 25, and I did not like it when I was 45. And you know what? I still don't. And you know what? I never will.
I'm just trying to help my grandma. She needs a cell phone. The phone company's been taking her for a ride with a landline for too long now. The fee she pays are crazy. And I know she doesn't have a lot of money to toss around. Even if she doesn't tell me that, I know. And besides, she's the one who told my whole life, "Oh, Jenny, in this country, money doesn't grow on trees, you know." That's exactly why I got her the cell phone. It's a way better deal. And this way, I can make sure nobody screws around with my grandma. You know what I mean? Calm down, Grandma. This is still a phone. It's smartphone. It's easy, and you will save money. Look, it even has a camera.
You see that? No, she is trying to show me all the fancy tricks of this teeny tiny computer. The last time it was a camera. She gave me the camera. The thing about the phone, I should tell you, she won't even let me touch it. Well, she made me touch her camera. She gave it to me just before I went away on my big trip. She came by and she said, "Here's the camera. Safe travels. Happy birthday. Here's an on button. Here's a click button. It's all so simple. And where you go?" Well, I went away on my big trip with my so simple camera. And guess what? I came back with not one photograph, not even one. The batteries, the camera, the plug. I don't know. It was just all so complicated. I just got confused. And you know what? That was that.
Here, watch this. Say cheese. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Look.
It shows all my wrinkles.
I know, right? Isn't this thing amazing? And it's so simple.
Here you are.
Thanks, Grandma.
Come on, eat up.
I am. Those are good.
Good.
Delicious.
Of course it is. I made it. Come on, eat up. You're just so
Me.
That's right. That's right, Anne. Look at your hair and look at your clothes. Come on, sit up straight. Sit up straight. Who is going to want to marry anybody who looks so untidy and disrespectful? No one is going to marry you.
Thanks for the compliment, Grandma.
Compliment. What compliment? Did I say you are beautiful? You could be, but you're not, because you have no respect for your parents. You know, when I was young, everyone used to say I was so pretty. I used to walk down the street with my parents, and everyone would come to my parents and say, "I'll never do you're so pretty. She's so well dressed, and she's so polite." I made my parents proud. You think you make your parents proud dressed like this?
Well, the last time I checked, they said I was just fine.
Is that right? That's because your parents are crazy and have taken on the crazy ways of this crazy country.
Of course, Grandma. Crazy Canada.
You heard that? She laughed. She always laughs at me. You know, when I was young, I used to laugh at old people too. Oh, goodness. You're just jealous because I'm young and you're old. You're nothing. No, young people laugh at me. I remember my grandma. My grandma used to say, "The radio is too loud." Well, I thought I was this big cookie, and I laughed at her. You know, I wish I could go back and tell her I'm sorry, bring her back and thank her. It's too late. You go ahead. You go ahead and laugh. You'll see. One day, it'll be your turn.
Oh, light it up, Grandma.
Lighten up. Lighten up. I will lighten up when you respect her.
What does that even mean?
Respect. Something your parents forgot to teach you.
What do you mean? I come by here all the time. I show my respect, I ask you how they're doing.
You come back here once every 2 months.
Oh, come on, Grandma.
And you only do that because your parents send you here out of guilt. You don't come back here because you want to.
But Grandma, I have a lot of things to
And
do.
see, you can't even look me in the eyes. You're always so busy looking down at that phone of yours.
Man, you want to do what you want to do, but when you're with someone old and they're an immigrant, it takes away all your fun because they're too serious. You want to laugh and be free. You don't want to be all tired and cranky. I'm still young, even if you're not. You know what I mean? You may be an immigrant, and I know that's tough. But I'm not an immigrant. Don't blame me just because I'm still young and can't speak English properly. Oh, come on, Grandma. I'm here. We're together. I'm eating your food. Just relax. Oh, before I forget, Mom and Dad told me to give you this. Something for us guys, I think. Here you go.
You do not understand what it means to be old until you yourself get old. You lose your eyesight, your bones get stiff, you get arthritis, you're cautious on slippery surfaces, you watch your step getting in and out of the bus, you're careful when you put up with garbage, you're even careful when you open a door. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Tell your parents stayed to save them. Do you know when they will be coming back again?
You know, it's funny. My parents always say love is passed down to generations. Show and give love, and you will receive it from your children. I know my grandma has shown a lot of love to this family over the years, yet my parents are barely in the picture anymore these days. Grandma, where did you come yourself? I have their number right here. Here, press this button right here.
Which one? This one?
Yep, that's the one.
Yes, life just happens as it happens. When you get old, you must let go. It's a time to let go. I have had to let go. Thanks. But no thanks. You know, you are very kind. Even if you're too skinny. Come on. Eat up.
There you go, Mom. Now try and sit up.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Chloe.
Well, I'm glad you finally know how to use control your ears. I thought it was just going to keep ringing, but you picked that up from 3 rings.
And that very moment, just before Juliet called, I was lonely. All she asked was, "How are you doing?" The simplicity of a phone call. Now she's here. What an effect. I'm not an invalid, you know. All you have to do is touch a button and put the phone close to your ear.
Oh, really? That's all?
It is. You know, I can show you if you like. Yeah. All you have to do is, I can even show you, I can show you how to send an email or even an call from the phone. It's a very simple process. All you have to do is move your finger down over a whole bunch of buttons and run a phone call.
That's true.
Now, these fingers don't necessarily work as well as they used to. So sometimes I dial the wrong number, or sometimes I send the wrong email to the wrong kind of person. You know, I mean, I'm just crying instead of by accident. You know, I can't tell you the more that's a year ago. I don't think I would want to speak to him anyway.
I love Mom so much. She has a young spirit. Her body gets older, but her soul Mom, who says we are going to wear them at home anyway?
Nobody. But I can tell you, if they are all ugly in there, nobody is letting me there.
I hate when she talks about the retirement home. People who empty themselves because there's nobody who cares. But if one day she gets really sick, how am I going to take care of her? I want to, but I don't know if I can. I just don't know.
But as long, wherever they send me, as long as they make me dance and sing, I can do that there, I'm happy. You know, they say that whatever happens, whatever leaves you, the one thing that will never leave you is your sense of music. Isn't that great?
I know, it's great.
It's wonderful.
Why does she always have to talk about getting old, going away, and things breaking down?
I'm scared, you know, petrified. What if the beat comes with me? All I've got left is a sense of music. What if one day Juliet says to me, "Go away, you're a nuisance"? What if one day the dropped off in front of us, a strange big building with a whole bunch of strangers telling me what to do, where to go, when to do my business? I'm not a child. You know they say that as you age, you become more spiritual, taking each day, trying to live a more ideal life. Well, I can tell you, it may be true, but you know, it's not easy.
Well, Mom, you still have plenty of time left for singing and dancing and much more, right?
Plenty of time left to connect. You know, as they say in quantum mechanics and physics, I love quantum mechanics. You know, they say that in quantum mechanics.
Wait, quantum mechanics?
Oh.
When did you learn about quantum mechanics?
Oh, I'm so shocked, darling. The phone is not the only smart thing in this room, you know. As I was saying, in quantum mechanics and physics, they say that we are all connected, all the way down to the very tiniest parts of our being.
How much more is there for her anyway? Poor eyes, achy joints. I feel for her. I want to take more time out for her, but I can't. There just aren't enough minutes in a day to do everything that you want to. No, need to.
So, how we use our time is really very important for everyone. We must make the most of it, or else.
Just one moment, Mom. My phone's ringing. I'm sorry, I have to take this call.
Take your time. Go ahead. I see me here when you're done. I think.
Oh, Mom, please. Why are you smiling? It's not funny.
Relax. She needs way, you know. Worries too much. You know, I have had many years to build up all of my own worries. I put years on all of my head. I just need to be seen for who I am. I'm not a number, I'm not a date on calendar, and I am not my illness. I am me. Simple. See me now before you can't see me again. That's all I ask. They say that these phones can kill us if we use them too much.
Mom, I have to take that call. It is important. Liv, I'm sorry, but I have to go.
I know.
I love you.
I know. Stay in touch.
I will.
Please.
Keep your phone on.
I will.
Thank you very much. Now I'll call upon Aaron Haddad, Mrs. Haddad, and Jamie to come up here. We would like to give you something as a token of our appreciation. We will have a short video presentation. It's an inspirational video. I will let you sit back and have a look at it.
Last Jewish girl and finished to be a gym teacher and a dancer. After this I went to England for 1 year and from England I came to Israel. Later I started myself with this gym lessons. I started first to work with children. And then if I get older and older I start to work with the mothers. And now I work with the grandmothers. So I'm like the older generation. I start to be specialist for gymnastics for older people than people over 60. We take our stick in the right hand, left hand on the left leg, and the right ear goes to the right shoulder, and the stick goes away from the body. You stretch outside and back, and out and back, and out and back. Now you take the stick on the other side, does the same with the left hand, to the side and back, and to the side and back, and to the side and back. Now you take the stick in front, with both hands on the stick, and you go far away with a straight back, and you go back to the chair. You go in front with a straight back and back. Now you start to go down, down, down. As much as you can, if you can go down to the floor, you go up, 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 up. You go down, 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 and up, 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 up. Now you take both hands on the stick, the whole body goes to the right and goes to the left, and to the side, and to the side. And you make a big circle. To the side, in front, to the side, to the body. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you take the stick, you take it as wide as they can. If you shorthand, you have to take it more in the middle. If you have long arms, you have to you lift it up on top and you take it down to the right side and to the left side. And you look with the eyes down, up, down. You put your stick in front of you, both hands on the stick. You sit back on the chair. You go straight back in front, or you take the stick to your body. Far away and back. Far away, and you do turning around, side in front, side to your body. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You lift the stick up very high over your head, to the side, to the floor, to the side, and up, side, down, side, up, side, down, side, to the other side, down, side, up, side, down, side. Lift it up to inhale and to exhale if you go down. Inhale if you go up. Exhale if you go down. If you inhale and out. And swing it. 1, 2, 1, 2. You lift up the knee and you take the stick down. You lift the stick up, the leg goes up, the leg goes down. You can do it leg straight, bend, up, bend, stretch, bend, up. Now the left leg. Curve, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and stretch, wait, up, exhale, inhale, exhale, and enough of the sticks. Lean forward, right forward.
She's 93 years old, but that's not keeping this yogi down. Tao Porchon Lynch still strives for that perfect pose. She's been named the world's oldest yoga teacher by Guinness World Records and has no plans on stopping anytime soon.
I'm going to teach yoga until I can't breathe anymore. Then it's going to carry me to the next planet. I love yoga. It brightens my day and makes everybody smile. And we need that.
And Tao has a lot to smile about. The little girl who discovered yoga on the beach in her native India has been a model, actress, competitive dancer, and even marched alongside Gandhi twice. She started teaching yoga 61 years ago and considers all 400 of her yoga students her children.
She has the most wonderful, positive spirit, and that just draws me here. It really is magical.
I cannot do it, and I'm not 94. So she's in better shape than I am, and I think that really keeps me moving forward. So, yeah, she's amazing.
So what's her secret to staying young and agile?
Yoga and dancing are sort of something that lives within you, and it makes me face the world.
Whether it's good genes or just good karma, one thing is clear, this nonagenarian is more than just young at heart. This summer she'll be dancing the tango competitively with a dance partner who is 69 years her junior. Sharon Reich, Reuters.
Something for us to look forward to. Our next speaker is Dr. Mangat. She will be giving the keynote address. Dr. Mangat is originally from Calgary, where she grew up, and did her undergraduate degree in biological sciences at the University of Calgary. She completed her medical school in the American University of Antigua and internal medicine training at the University of South Dakota, USA. Currently, she's at the University of Toronto completing her training in geriatric medicine. She has a strong interest in medical ethics and hopes to enhance her knowledge of geriatric medicine among non-English speaking Canadians from regions such as India. Now I would invite Dr. Mangat for her keynote address.
Good morning all. Thank you for inviting me. As you know, I'm Dr. Mangat, currently completing my geriatric fellowship here at the University of Toronto. Quite a tough act to follow, those two, and certainly the play. I don't know if there's anything left for me to tell you. But I'm going to talk about healthy aging, because that's why we're here today. I'm going to poll the audience a few times. We're going to keep this a little interactive. And towards the end, if you have any questions, I would be very happy to answer them. So I want to ask, how many of you think your age and the age you will live to depends on your genetics? Raise your hands if you say yes. And if you think 90% is related to your genetics, raise your hand. Couple? How about 50% is related to your genes? How about 10% is related to your genes? Oh, that's right. There was a Danish twin study, and only 10% of how you age and how long you live to is determined by your genes. The rest of it is your environment and how you choose to live. So I'm going to talk to you about your environment today and how you can modify it and how other people around the world have modified their environment to live to 120. Now, does old age begin when you're 65? Is that when you're automatically old? Who said that? Who decided that? The government. That's exactly right. It's a social construct. It's when we say you're done. It's when you're eligible in the States for Medicare. It's when Germany decided in 1886 and we all just followed. So if that's not the age that you're old, when are you old? And what are these myths that we hear? And what are the truths about aging? Okay, so memory. That's the one we always are worried about when we age. Is dementia something we all get? Raise your hands if you say yes. Yeah, no one should. I agree. There is some memory loss that occurs as you age. It's short-term, modest memory loss. That's for the retrieval process. That's common. But apart from that, dementia is not a normal part of aging. And nor should any senior accept dementia as a normal part of aging. How about blood pressure? Does blood pressure increase with age? Say yes. Raise your hands if you say yes. We've got some geriatricians in the room, I think. Yes. Blood pressure does increase with age. It's an age-related disease, most commonly. And why can your blood pressure increase? Sure, genetics play 10%. The rest of it is your environment. It's what you eat. It's the salt that you eat. It's the physical activity you partake in, or lack thereof. It's the other medical conditions you have. It's the heart disease. The diabetes. osteoporosis, bone loss, excessive bone loss. Is that acceptable part of aging? Should we all have osteoporosis when we're old? I don't think so either. Is it preventable? Yes. So if 10% is your genes, how are you preventing it? It's your calcium intake. It's your vitamin D intake. It's the fact that you don't smoke, that you don't drink alcohol, more than in moderation. I know that's confusion out there what moderation means. And it's how sedentary you are. Are you doing some daily weights, lifting some weights, and by weights we mean a laundry basket? And is it common for men and women, or women more commonly to have osteoporosis? Who most commonly has osteoporosis? Women. So why aren't you all out seeing your doctor? Because sometimes we just accept things as part of aging. And after menopause, women are at very high risk for osteoporosis. And I bet if I screened you all in here, you would all be vitamin D deficient. How about physical strength? Does that decline with aging? Yes. I'm sorry, it does. But that's because your muscle mass declines. Your cartilage erodes. The membranes of your bones and your ligaments, they harden. And the fluid that surrounds your joints thickens. There's no car that's worked forever. And just like that, your body has wear and tear. But can you work on your muscle mass? You can improve your protein intake. You can continue to build muscle. You can be physical, have physical activities that are weight-bearing, that help your bone and help your muscles too. Well, there's 5 senses: vision, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. Do they decline with aging? Yes, they do. They do. And that's commonly a very hard thing, because commonly with taste, smell goes. And it's hard to enjoy the same foods that you did at one point. There is some age-related hearing loss, but we live in an era where we have artificial means. We have hearing aids. We have pocket talkers. And yes, vision slightly decreases with aging as well. But again, we have the advent of glasses. So we have modalities to help you age successfully. So should you not hear when you're 80? No. We should help with hearing aids. Should you be falling because you can't see because you have vision loss? No. We should be helping provide appropriate vision aids. As for taste and smell, we can't help too much with that yet. So, what are the secrets to living longer? Not everybody in this room is 65 plus. Some I see are in that 40 range. So if you're 45, and if you do everything I tell you right now, if you're a man, you will live 7 more years. And if you're a female, you will live 11 more years. So I'm assuming some of you would like to hear these secrets. Okay? Sleeping. How many of you sleep 7 to 8 consistent hours every night? 45 each. We'll get to the other ages. All right. How many of you are conscious of your weight gain, weight control? Good for you. Good for you. Okay. How many of you exercise 3 times a week, 30 minutes of moderate to physical exercise where you can just complete a sentence? Seniors in this room are just amazing. I don't even know if I need to be here. Okay. And how many of you drink a little bit of alcohol, but not excessive amounts? This is an open space. You can just raise your hands. How many of you smoke? to eat breakfast every morning. Better than my generation. And how many of you very rarely can be caught snacking? Those are the 7 things someone 45 years old should do. For a man who wants to live 7 more years, with an average life expectancy in Canada for a male 78, and for a female who wants to live 11 more years, with the average life expectancy in Canada for a female about, let's say, 86 to 87. Sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, weight control, exercise, a limited alcohol intake, no smoking, eating breakfast every day, seldom snacking. That doesn't sound complicated, but we don't do it. Okay, so let's get on to our seniors. You have a 3.3 chance of successfully aging if you do these 4 things. If you do physical activity 2.5 hours of moderate exercise where you can just complete a sentence as you're walking, running, whatever you're capable of. If you have never smoked or you quit smoking, if you consume alcohol moderately, and you eat fruits and vegetables every day. Am I mentioning any pills? Am I mentioning any magic pill here? I don't think so. So, okay, if you're 75 years old, that's why I'm here. What should you do to ensure, male or female, that at 75 you will get 5.4 more years in your life? It shouldn't be a surprise what I'm about to say. Physical activity. Don't smoke. Maintain meaningful social connections. That's the 3 tricks. At age 75, that studies have proven, if you do them, you will live 5.4 years longer. That's a lot when you're expected to live to 89 and you get 5 more good years. Have you guys heard of blue zones? So the National Geographic Society and a gentleman named Dan Buettner with Research and Ethics, which is my background that I'm interested in, and the Aging Health Initiative in the United States have looked at areas around the world where a majority of the population is 100 years. There's one in California called Loma Linda. There's one in Italy called Sardinia. And I think maybe some of you have heard of the one in Japan called Okinawa. Why are they living till 100? They don't have a magic pill, or it would be marketed. What are they doing that they are majority-wise living till 100 and successfully living till 100? There is a fisherman in Okinawa who's 104, who I wish I had a picture, has muscles bigger than any 24-year-old bodybuilder, who fishes every day for his family. There is a landowner in Sardinia who chops wood for his neighbors every day, using an axe at 100. In Loma Linda, there's a 102-year-old lady who drives a school bus. What are they doing? What are these communities doing? One, they move naturally. In our society, we're sedentary for majority of the day and obviously all night. And then we leave work and we're physically active vigorously for 1 hour. Even training for a marathon, you are sedentary for majority of your day. There, they move naturally. The females in Okinawa, they eat on the ground. They get up and down 30 times a day. They're not running on treadmills. The fisherman is catching fish every day. He doesn't go to Gold's Gym after. In Loma Linda, they are a Christian society. As part of their belief, every Saturday, everybody needs to go for a walk, enjoy nature. None of them have gym memberships. And in Sardinia, because geographically they live in hills and valleys, they're a little isolated. So they don't have the big roads that now that they may have, as they did before. So they still walk and take the scooter and fix their old scooter when they need to. No, none of them are part of Good Life Fitness. Moving naturally, and studies have shown walking. You don't have to be a marathon runner for any age. Physical, just walking every day. High intensity, the best you can improves your gait, your balance, and your cognition. Okay, well, what do they eat? They must eat something interesting. They must have a secret that none of us have. They follow the Hara Hachibu diet. What does that mean? They just eat a basic plant-based diet. Okay, well, you must say that must be the Japanese, maybe, okay. No, in Sardinia, they make their own cheese from their grain-fed cattle. Okay, well, we have grain-fed cattle. No, we have majority-wise corn-fed cattle. That changes the omega type in your cheese. So they milk the cow, they make their own cheese, they eat their own cheese. Plant-based diet. Okay, well, Loma Linda, that's California. They can't be eating this plant-based diet. No, they follow a diet that comes from the Bible, which is plants, legumes, occasional meat. Not a big secret. Okay, all of these cultures drink a little bit of wine every day. Now, the Japanese have their own rice drink. The Sardinians have the world's strongest wine. And in Loma Linda, as part of Sabbath and part of their other ceremonies, they have wine almost every other day. Now, I'm Punjabi. There's no way I could tell my Punjabi mom to drink wine every day. Some of you know what they're like. But that doesn't mean that you can't do the other things. No one's saying to go today, and I'm sure some of your thoughts have been like, I've been hearing this wine every day. Are you telling me I need to go drink wine every day? And what kind of wine? And how much of this wine? And where is this life-altering wine? If that's not something you've partaken in, you don't have to begin. And if you do, if you drink a big glass, it's time to make it a little glass. And if you drink a little glass, it's time to keep it a consistent little glass. Okay, so what else do? They can't just eat plant-based diets, salads every day. Well, they do, and they eat small portions. We have a different North American and Western European style eating method, where the bigger, the better. There was a recent study that came out of the States, and it's very comical. And it's not because they're Americans. It would be the same if it was here. Everybody sat down and got a bowl of soup. And they said, eat as much of the soup as you can until you feel full. And everybody kept eating the soup even though they felt so full they couldn't stop. Why? Because they wanted to bring that soup bowl down to nothing. And underneath the table, they were pumping soup back into the bowl. So there's no way that bowl would have got to zero. That's our brain. Our brain is always in starvation mode. It's scared of being in starvation mode. It will eat whatever you put in front of the plate. We like to finish that plate. In Okinawa, their plates are smaller. in Sardinia, their plates are smaller. Our plates are huge. They eat until their stomach feels a little full, they wait, and they realize they're full. It takes 30 minutes for your stomach to comprehend that it's full. For most of us, we have polished that plate in 15 minutes. The brain didn't get the signal. Okay, so what else do? They all have an ikigai, a plan de vida, a reason they wake up in the morning. I'm going to take a stat from Dan Buettner. There are 2 days in everybody's lifetime in North American society that has the highest mortality rate. I'm going to leave it. Does anyone guess what days they are? It's the day you're born. It's the day you retire. Highest mortality rates in our society. Isn't retirement a good thing? No, because for some, you lose your purpose. In these societies, every single person has a purpose, and their purpose does not change by a socially constructed age. That fisherman is 102. He is a fisherman. At 65, he didn't say, I'm not a fisherman anymore because I'm 65. He still fishes. He wakes up every single day in the morning because he is a fisherman. There is a great-grandmother in Sardinia. In fact, she's a great-great-great-grandmother. She wakes up every single day because she takes care of her grandchildren, her great-great-great-grandchildren. That is her purpose. She has a purpose. There is a cardiologist in the United States 3 years ago. He did open heart bypass surgery at the age of 94. He has a purpose. Everybody needs a purpose. And that's part of successful aging. And in all of these societies, everybody knows their role. And they don't lose their role because they are at a certain age. All of these societies take time to relieve stress. In Loma Linda, starting Friday night till Saturday night is their Sabbath. No phones, nothing. Everybody must have dinner together. Nobody sleeps in Saturday. It's not a day to just sleep in. They all go on walks together as a community. You relieve stress. How many of us take a whole Saturday just to relieve stress? Could you even? No. Even if you wanted to. And 7, it's actually true. Being part of a religious community gives you more years. Because it gives you a sense of purpose again. You're part of a congregation. And it's any religion. There's no specific religion, but it's the fact that you are in a group of people who now you feel connected with. As human beings, we are social. We don't live in isolation. We don't have children and we don't leave them. We are not other organisms. We are mammals. Mammals take care of their young. They live in a big group. We are not meant to live in an apartment alone. We live in a group setting. So that's the trick that all of these blue zones have. I am not hearing a magic pill. I am not hearing an unattainable formula. But it is unattainable because we've constructed our world in such a way that we don't move naturally. We eat a lot of processed foods. And we like going out to restaurants, and we like that, maybe not everyone here, but I'm from Calgary, we like our big steak, whether you finish it or not. We don't always drink in moderation. And commonly when we retire, we lose a sense of who we are. We don't take time, actual time, to relieve stress. 5 minutes right after you grocery shop and sit on the couch and have a cup of tea, not enough. But we do participate in spiritual communities. You guys have that covered. So those are the secrets to healthy aging. We don't have a big, fancy answer. But what we do as geriatricians is we help you achieve these goals. We understand that you're coming to us with a lot more medical issues. Finances aren't what they used to be. Social constructs in society and families aren't what they used to be. But we help you navigate that. I can tell you to go exercise and you can say and do what? But it's simple. Move around your house. Park 3 cars down in the parking lot. Those 3 extra steps helps. You need to take charge and move naturally. Enjoy your golden years. That's all I have to say. Any questions, comments, concerns? I'll be happy to take them.
You mentioned about intake of food and so on, but I also hear that if the body doesn't accept it or can't process it, then not healthy.
Can you repeat what the earlier part of your question was?
Or you were talking about, say for example, intake of protein or calcium. If your body doesn't take it, then what to?
So protein does not mean meat. Does not have to mean beef, chicken. It means legumes, soybeans. There's protein in milk, casein. Calcium doesn't have to be a tablet. It should never be a tablet. Oranges have calcium in it. Broccoli has calcium. I would ask you to go to the Canada Food Guide. A lot of vegetables have calcium. These people are just eating plants. There is vitamin D fortified milk in our society. We just don't drink that milk anymore. It only works if we actually put it in our bodies. So if your body does not take meat protein, it's not time to start. That's not my suggestion. But if you're eating a carbohydrate-rich diet, which is more wheat, it's time to add those plants. I hope that answers.
Yeah, I must thank you very much for your excellent presentations and the way you delivered it. Very fascinating and interesting. Very well.
Thank you.
Okay. That's one thing, and I followed almost your guidelines by myself, and I am a beneficiary myself. I lost from 194 pounds to 115 pounds through regular exercise, gardening, and regular work, and all these chores also. So there is, if I can do it, everybody can do it. Okay?
Very good.
Everybody can do it. I got another question. That is a very pressing issue at the time of retirement.
This will be the last question
Okay.
in the interest of time.
All right, just I want to, yeah, in case of how do you adjust after retirement to your spouse who is working, who thinks you should be working again, or you are just not doing enough as a retired?
Great question, actually. I don't have a spouse, so I can't comment too much, but I have parents who I just left yesterday, so I can comment on that. It's hard when you have an occupation for many years, and now you're sitting at home or wherever, and this is not your day-to-day. So how do you fill your time? No one should fill their time. You should do what you like. This is your time to pick up hobbies. This is your time to give back. This is your time to come teach Sunday school. This is your time to volunteer. I cannot stress how important it is to volunteer in a hospital. especially for our language impaired patients. It's great that we have these teenagers in high school who want to come and hold grandma's hand and help her for an hour, but if there's no verbal discussion, grandma feels uncomfortable. There is so much that we can use in society from volunteerism. Please come to the hospital 2 hours a day. There are patients who would benefit from your experience. And then you have to not say it's over. Perhaps you can be a consultant. My uncle still consults at 74 to oil and gas from home. He's just changed what he does, but he hasn't stopped doing what he does. I think that was our last question, but I'll be happy to talk after.
Just a comment, not a question.
Sure.
I thank your parents for your giving name. What you presented now, it not only consoles people, but you have a very positive, or you are a very positive little girl.
Thank you.
And I thank you for that.
Not so little anymore, I'm an actual doctor, but thank you very much.
Here you are, yes,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dilpriya, for that excellent presentation. As a token of our appreciation, we would just like to give you a small cake. And I also would like you to, we are going to be giving out our door prize, and I would just like you to draw the ticket, the winning ticket. And the number is 717027. While you are checking your numbers, we would now request Mike Sullivan in PF for your question to come and say a few words to us.
What is the
First, I want to say thank you for inviting me once again to your Senior Spectacular here at the Dental Society. It's quite an honor to be here. Very difficult to follow that wonderful dissertation on how to stay young. I'm one of those I used to have red hair, and it's not red anymore because I'm getting older, and many of us are. And we are looking for ways to age gracefully, to stay active, to stay active in spite of arthritis, to stay active in spite of bodies that don't want to behave. And I appreciate all of what she said. There is, there was, in reference to the person who retired, and that becomes the second most common death. I'm reminded of a story of a man who worked in a factory all his life, and he retired, and so did several of his friends. And every morning, 9 o'clock, he and his friends would go into his garage, attached to his house, and just sit and play, work on little things, but they had a purpose, they had something to do. And every morning as he went out the door, his wife gave him his lunch. And he took his lunch out to the garage and had his lunch outside. And I asked him, why? I asked his wife, actually, why do you pack the lunch? He's right there. He could come in and have his lunch in the house. She said, I married him for better or for worse, but not for lunch. But there was an example of a family that had figured out that they needed a purpose, they needed a routine, and they needed activity. And they got all of that through what is a traumatic experience, that is retiring. Traumatic is probably the wrong word. It's stressful. It's stressful because your life has suddenly changed from one of activity and purpose to one that could be no purpose and no activity. And so many fall into that trap. The idea of volunteerism is a huge example of how to continue the idea of purpose and the idea of activity while having a change in life, while retiring from a job. This society has its soup kitchen once a week that is a wonderful example of how this community gets together and feeds people who can't afford it through volunteers, through volunteerism. It's a wonderful thing. It was also mentioned at the beginning of the role that government plays in how we retire, the role that government plays, and I'm that representative of that government that gives out money, and not enough money, but gives out money to people after they've ceased being a part of the workforce. It was mentioned, it was 1868, I think it was, that Kaiser Wilhelm turned to his finance minister and said, I want to give people a pension. What's the age at which most people are gone, or dead? Is it 65? Okay, good, we'll make it 65. It won't cost me very much. But old habits die hard. We still have 65 as an age at which we transition from earning a living to relying on our savings, to relying on our families, to relying on the government to look after us. Now, this government has decided to change that to 67. I don't know that that's a good idea, and if the government changes next year, we're going to change it back to 65. There are certainly some occupations that people shouldn't be working at till they're 65. They're just too consuming on the bodies. Physical, hard rock mining, those kinds of jobs, people need to enjoy their retirement because they have taken a toll on their bodies. But there also needs to be some recognition by all levels of government that seniors, as they age, need more help. They need more help in where they live. They need more help with their finances. It's becoming more and more expensive to heat our homes, to get around, to talk on the cell phone. And so as those expenses go up and our incomes do not, it becomes much more of a burden, particularly on seniors in our society. So we need to pay attention to that. We have a wonderful example, potential example, of two buildings that are becoming vacant very soon. And that is the Keele Street site and the Church Street site at Humber River Regional Hospital. And what a wonderful thing it could be if those two sites could become seniors' facilities, rather than being torn down and made into condos or whatever it is that the CEO of the hospital thinks would make the most money for the hospital. They're already set up in rooms. They're already set up with medical facilities. They're already set up with all the infrastructure necessary to be a seniors' long-term care facility, perhaps a seniors' residence. So we need to think about that. You are right next door to one of the most amazing places in this region, and that is West Park Hospital. And West Park Hospital has huge plans to expand itself, to look after seniors for a profit, but to do so, to create the facility, to create the place to live that we're all wondering, where are we going to be? Which seniors' residence am I going to end up in? Which of my children are going to have to look after me in my dotage? So all of which is to say that I'm very, very thankful to be here, grateful to listen. Wonderful play, by the way. I thought that was such an amazing piece of art to have it recreated for us exactly what I remember as a very young child, coming and talking to my invalid grandmother every day and learning amazing things from her. And not realizing that I was also keeping her alive because I was there every day for her. And that's part of what that play was to tell us, that our social connections are one of the most important things that keep us alive and keep us active. That said, thank you very much for inviting me. And my office, you know how to reach me, find me, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about all of the issues that are out there in society today, whether it's war, whether it's assisted suicide, whether it's help for seniors, whether it's our healthcare system. Please let me know what you think. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you so much.